Hi, welcome to another edition of Antique Radio Archaeology. I'm going to be going back into the test equipment realm, and we're going to be working on a 1946 Triplett 666H volt ohm meter. Now, I picked this meter up probably about a decade ago. I got it home, took a look at it. The meter on it was, I think, is pretty much shot. And unfortunately, it's not a meter that's easily obtainable, so it wound up sitting in my basement for years. And the other day, I came across a listing in an antique radio forum where a guy was giving away the front panel and meter of one of these for anyone who was willing to pay postage. So I went ahead and picked it up and just got it in, so we're going to go ahead and install that and see if we can't get this meter back to operational. So thank you very much, Bob. I appreciate what you've done, and hopefully we're going to put that meter to good use here shortly. So before I get started on that, let's talk a little bit about the Triplett Electrical Instrument Company and what its relationship is to the military and actually where it is today, because Triplett still exists and they're still making electronic instruments. So let's go ahead and take a look at the beginnings of this incredible company. So in 1902, Ray Triplett, R.L. Triplett, worked for a local watchmaker while attending high school. In 1903, he went to work for a company called Jewel Instruments in Chicago after graduating from high school, and then he was later promoted to production line supervisor. In 1904, unfortunately, Ray's mother passed away, and he went back home to his home in Bluffton, Ohio, and at the age of 19, he actually started a company called Triplett Meter Company. He figured, using his experience from watchmaking and the Jewel Instruments, he created what's called the pocket meter, and he marketed it under the name Pocket Meter Company, this little pocket watch. And it looks like a pocket watch, but it was actually a meter. So, and it was used to by automobile owners to test their electrical batteries and things like that. So it was quite the thing, and he was doing really good there. He later developed a new recording meter under the name Read-Write, and then he developed a telephone tester in 1910. He kept going on. The company grew, and he wound up doing all kinds of different test equipment throughout the year. And then finally, in 1932, he changed the name of the company to Triplett Electrical Instrument Company and introduced a whole slew of test equipment under the Read-Write name. And he later sold some of it to JVT Instruments, and he still continued to produce other equipment, radio tuning testers, and a whole slew of equipment all the way up until World War II. Now in World War II, he really started taking things seriously. Worked with the U.S. Signal Corps, and they created various meters, meters for other instruments. He did a lot of different things for the military. His plant landed several military contracts. He was able to grow his company through the war effort, and even both of his sons both served in the Signal Corps, so it was quite the endeavor. And then they also went to Europe to train Army personnel and construct communication systems, so it became a pretty well-known company to the military. Well, in 1946 is when this Model 666H came out. It was along the lines, there was a whole 666 line that included a couple of different meters. This just happens to be one of the variations of it. And later on, in 1949, when television started kicking off, the Triplett company developed the Model 630. Now that's the one I'm most familiar with because I used that meter quite a bit during my stint in the military, which was in the 70s, 80s, and 90s. So it was, that's how I got introduced to Triplett. And of course I saw a lot of other instruments as well that we used. And eventually the Triplett Electrical Instrument Company built a building in California. It was later closed. They kind of took the route that a lot of different companies did. They grew and things kind of went to the wayside, and then they came back, and then it went to the wayside. Well, eventually they wound up really focusing on test equipment, and in the 80s, the Triplett brothers finally decided to retire in 1983, and they decided to sell the company. So after 80 years, this family-owned company was sold off to a little company called Penrell, and they had acquired some other companies, and all these companies together became the Triplett Corporation. So the Triplett Corporation eventually, after suffering some severe cash problems, they were able to get their stuff together, so to speak, and they developed a line of test equipment for the railroad industries. They started getting into land testers in the 90s, telco product lines, cellular phone test equipment. They worked with the military, producing components for aircraft. They also developed a rather interesting meter called the visualizer, which is a heads-up display type of volt-ohm meter, which the user wears on their head like a headband that has a little drop-down screen that allows them to see the readings without having to hold on to the meter. All they have to do is deal with the test leads. So it was, they've done quite a bit, and today they have a huge line of test equipment, high quality test equipment. You'll find them in Lowe's, Home Depot. You'll find them, their land testers, their phone test equipment, their any kind of test equipment you can even imagine is pretty much produced by the Triplett Company. So, you could take a look at their whole product line today and just be amazed at what they're offering. And they're quite pricey because, one thing about Triplett is they are a very high quality company. So that's pretty much the rundown of the history of the company. I did get this off a website, a lot of this information. I'm going to go ahead and link that in my description. So please, if you'd like to learn more, go ahead and hit that website and read the whole synopsis. Or you can also go to the Triplett website and see what their product lines are. Alright, so here's my meter. Came in its original box, which interestingly, it shows it as a 666R, but it says Model H. This is not the Model H, so it allows you to change model numbers, but that is a picture of one of the variations, but it's not this one. This is the Model H here, and it looks like that right there. As you can see, this is in really, really good shape. So there is a little bit of a chip here on the case. There's a slight crack here on the panel, which appears to be re-glued and it's functional, so I'm not too worried about that. I just want to get this thing working. As you can see, this is one of the telltale signs of a bad meter when the meter display is not zeroing out. You can adjust it. You will not get that down to zero. So unfortunately, as I discovered, it was definitely bad. These are leads that came with it. I don't even think these are original, but they'll work for what I'm going to do here. Let's go ahead and measure some voltage with it to show you what's happening. Okay, so I went ahead and propped this thing up. I just want to show you that to zero this, that's the closest I can get right there. It should go all the way down to zero. Let me go ahead and put this on 10 volt scale. Right there. This is a 9 volt battery, reads about 9.7 actually. Positive to negative. It's negative side here. Positive. I'm reading about 8 volts. It should measure more than that, so we know that's definitely off. Let's go to the Ohm scale. 2500 ohms. Need to switch the leads. Okay, nothing. Okay, on the 300 ohm scale, let me zero that. That should be reading a dead short, and it doesn't. So, yeah, there's some problems. So we definitely need to get that resolved. So, what I'm going to do is, I did pick up, this is the meter that the guy sent me, and plate. So as you can see, where I have that not zeroing, this one is zeroed. So when you have a meter that's showing like that, there's a good chance that that thing's bad. So if you see one on eBay and that's what the meter's looking like, be very suspicious that it may have a bad meter in it. So, and this applies to any instrument that has a meter. So I've got this one. We're going to go ahead and pull this out and replace that and go from there. In there tight. There. Okay. There's my meter movement. Okay, so as you can see, that's very compact. That is going to be fun. So let's see what we got to go through to get this apart. Alright, now where it gets interesting. I need to get those removed, and they're under this board here, so let's go ahead and remove this board. Okay, so that board comes out. That's what I need. See, those are just regular flathead screws there. Gotta get these two off the meter. Okay. Yeah, these components here are kind of stopping me, so I need to get these off. One. All right, so shoot, those go on those. That's got to come off too. All right. So now I have access to the screws on the meter. And I'm missing a screw. Interesting. I wonder if this thing's been replaced before. Now, one of the things that I forgot I need to do, I need to put this in the same position as this. That one's towards the end. Oh, okay. down. Now, perfect. Don't believe that's any good, but I will try and put a screw in that other one. Oh, it is. Cool. Alright. Now, let's go ahead and get this back in here. It's that switch. Might be able to get this one. Alright, let's see what we can do here. Let's go ahead and test this thing out. One of the things I'm going to say is these test leads are crap. This one here keeps opening up and shorting out, and I just finally just said screw it. I'm tossing these. They're not worth it. I've got an older set of test leads here. These will work. They have the same ends that Triplett needs, so I'm going to go ahead and use this. And let's go ahead and test things out here. I'm going to use this as a reference. So put that on voltage. Alright, I'm reading 9.5 volts there. So if I use these, I should read 9.5. And looks like I'm at about 9.5. Alright. So that voltage works. I can use my... Let me go ahead and... I've got a power strip over here. I'm going to go ahead and plug into it with the digital multimeter. And let me go ahead and get AC on there first. Okay. Now, $121 volts. Okay. So on this, in order to get AC, I can go 250 volt scale. Okay, so and I'm reading about 110 volts, so it's a little bit low on AC. Let's see if I can adjust that. Alright. Now let's go ahead and check the ohm scale. Now for ohms, this is interesting. If I go to the 300 ohm scale, this thing is switched, by the way, and I'll show you. As soon as you plug into it, I can adjust for 0. There. It only works when you plug into it, and that's on the 300 ohm scale only. So for 300 ohms, let's go ahead and, I think this is about an 8 ohm resistor. Let's go ahead and check it real quick. 8.7 ohms, okay. And I'm reading about, let's go on the 300, 5, 6, 7, 8.7, yeah, almost 9, yeah, there we go. That's actually pretty accurate on the 300 ohm scale. Alright, let's get something closer to, let's see, that was 8 ohms. Let's see if we can read 100 ohms. It's 100 ohms. And 300, there we go. 100 ohms right there. Let's use, so I got something in the 20 ohm range. So this should be 20 ohms. There you go, 20 ohms. Alright, I'm real happy with that. Now, this only works on 300 ohms, that part there. To use the 250,000 ohms or 250k ohms, you have to come over to here. So when I do that, you have to adjust your 0 by shorting that out. Okay, that's max scale. Okay, so with that, let me find, how do we do a 10k resistor? There's a 10k, so that should read right here at 10,000, which it does. Okay. Let's see if I can find a. Here's 6.2K. Okay. Looks about right. This is 2.2K. A little over 2, alright. Oh, here's 2K exactly. And it's reading 2K. Man, this thing's accurate. Let's see what 500 ohms looks like. It's right on 500. I'll tell you what, this is probably, for an analog meter, this is one of my most accurate, but the scale is so big, you're not getting some real good measurements though. I mean, you will on those ranges, so. But that's it. That's the ohm scale. That's the, I got AC. The only thing, yeah, my AC is a little bit low, so I'll have to take a look at that. Here is the schematic for it. And that's this right here. I'm going to see if I can find an alignment for this. Okay, I did discover that there are no actual adjustments here. This here is a rectifier, which I found in here. What I've got is these two 1K resistors. Now, I went ahead and isolated them from the circuit. And as you can see, I'm reading about 1.8K on one of them. And on the other, I'm reading about 1.15K. So these two are out of tolerance. They should be 1K. So I'm going to go ahead and replace those. That might be my issue. I did test this on lower AC voltages and they were also all low, so this is definitely universal to the entire AC circuit. So let's go ahead and replace those and see what happens. So I've gone ahead and replaced the two out of tolerance resistors. I went ahead and measured all the different resistors that are in here for tolerance. They're all within specs. I did test it out. Unfortunately, it's still not working. What I think the problem is that rectifier right there. So that being the case, here it is, that little component. That being the case, there's not much more I can do. There's no way of knowing what the specs are on that thing. And as far as I'm concerned, the rest of the meter works fine. So I'm just going to leave it as is. I'm going to go ahead and put her all back together. Okay, so I've got it hooked to a signal generator. I've got it on about 100 hertz AC. So I'm reading about let me get it on 5 volts. Okay, there's about 5 volts right there. Reading on this meter. And here we are reading a little less than 4 volts. So, yeah, it's not good. On AC, let's go to 10 volts. Okay, I'm reading about a little less than 9 volts right now. So yeah, this thing is definitely off. I'm not going to give up. I do hope that I can find that rectifier at some point, but as far as I'm concerned, this project's pretty much complete until I can get that rectifier in, and I'm sure that's probably all I need to fix this. So But other than that, everything else works just fine, and I'm going to go ahead and call this a wrap. Well, this concludes today's video. It's always great to get a basement queen out of the basement and back on the workbench where it belongs. Happy restorations, everybody. Hope to see you again next video. Thank you for watching.